Welcome to episode 88 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history by a 17 Laws guy. It's January 27, 1994. Somewhere in the Caribbean, a football match ends 3-2 after extra time, except, depending on which column you look at, it's also recorded as 4-2. And to get there, one team scores an own goal on purpose, and the other team then tries to score an own goal on purpose. And for a few minutes, the defending team is defending both nets at the same time. This is not a match-fixing story. It's not corruption. It's not bribery. It's football doing what football always does when you give it a rule with a loophole: optimizing. And on this day in 1994, optimization looks like madness. So how did we get here? We start with a tournament most fans barely know, but most Caribbean federations need: the Caribbean Cup, also known in those years as the Shell Caribbean Cup, was the Caribbean's regional championship, and on many occasions it doubled as a route into the CONCACAF Gold Cup. For big football nations, qualification is routine. For Caribbean nations, it can be existential. A handful of meaningful competitive matches a year, a shot at sponsorship attention, a reason for federations to fund camps and travel, and a platform for players, often semi-pro, to become national names. And in 1994, the tournament's qualifying phase is designed with a particular idea in mind. Every match must produce a winner. No draws. If level after 90 minutes, sudden death extra time. And here's the innovation that sets the fuse. In extra time, the golden goal counts as 2 goals, not just for winning the match, but in the goals for and goals against columns used to separate teams in the table. It's meant to reward the team that dares to attack, to end stalemates quickly, to make extra time decisive. And in this qualifying tournament, it gets used repeatedly. 5 matches are decided that way, but only one match turns the rule into hallucination. Now meet the 2 main characters. Barbados, the Bajan Tridents, a small federation, a small player pool, a team that historically has lived in the margins of the region's power structure. Grenada, the Spice Boys, a nation that loves football, but has always had to fight for oxygen in CONCACAF's ecosystem. In 1994, neither side is loaded with Europe-based stars. This isn't Ghana versus Ivory Coast, whom we talked about in yesterday's episode. No, this is football at the edge of the map, where every point feels like funding. And the qualifying group is a 3-team mini-league: Barbados, Grenada, and Puerto Rico. Only one team progresses to the finals in Trinidad and Tobago. And now the table creates the trap. Before the final match, Grenada sit on top with a +2 goal difference and 3 points. Barbados have lost their opener and are on 0 points. The math is brutal. Barbados must beat Grenada by 2 goals to go through. Anything else, and Grenada qualify. So Barbados need a 2-0 or 3-1 or 4-2, something clean. Which brings us to the match. Late in the game, Barbados have done it. They lead 2-0. They have the margin. But disaster strikes in the 83rd minute. Grenada scores 2-1. And suddenly, the entire match changes shape. Because 2-1 isn't enough for Barbados. Grenada, at 2-1 down, are happy. They'll qualify. Barbados won't. So Barbados have a choice, and it's horrible. Try to force a 3rd goal against the set defense, with the clock dying. Or do something radical. And someone in Barbados realizes a loophole. If they can get the match to 2-2, they can force extra time. And in extra time, 1 golden goal counts as 2 in the table, meaning a single sudden death strike would instantly give Barbados the 2-goal margin they need. So here it comes. Barbados stops charging forward, and instead, Terry Seeley, a defender, as well as goalkeeper Horace Stout, are standing a few feet in front of Barbados' goal, passing the ball back and forth between them, before Seeley in the 87th minute intentionally and deliberately kicks the ball into his own net to tie the game at 2-2. And now the rule has detonated, because Grenada understand immediately what 2-2 means. Extra time is no longer a neutral add-on. It's a weapon Barbados created on purpose. So Grenada scrambled for the counter-weapon, and it's the most surreal tactical adjustment you will ever hear. Grenada decide their best response is to score a goal at either end. If they score on Barbados' goal, they win. If they score on their own goal, they lose 3-2. but they avoid extra time, and that one goal loss still preserves their path to qualification. So Grenada, from the restart, head straight for their own net, and Barbados do the only thing they can do. They split. Half the team defends their own goal. Half the team defends Grenada's goal. Football becomes a two-goal hostage negotiation. Grenada are trying to score in either net. Barbados are trying to stop them scoring into either net. And somehow, Barbados hold the 2-2 to the whistle. Extra time arrives. And 4 minutes in, Barbados score the winner. Sudden death. And because of the counts as two rule, that single strike is treated like a two-goal swing in the standings. Barbados win 3-2, but it counts as 4-2, and they advance. This is why this match lives forever, not because of the finishing, but because of what happens when a competition tries to be clever with incentives, and the teams become cleverer. So what happens next? First, FIFA doesn't punish Barbados, because under the rules they were doing exactly what elite teams always do, maximizing the probability of the required result, conditional on the regulations. Second, the rule is never used again. The organizers had wanted drama, and they got a match where the very concept of a goal stops behaving like a goal. And the Caribbean Cup itself continues, chaotic, colorful, and full of stories, because in the same qualifying phase, a match is cancelled because of crowd trouble. Dominica versus Montserrat never gets played. In the finals in Trinidad and Tobago, the hosts end up winning the tournament in style, beating Martinique 7-2 in the final. But then there's the Haiti thread. After being eliminated in the finals, a group of Haitian national team players attempt to seek political asylum at the US Embassy in Port of Spain, a mass defection story that reads like geopolitics colliding with a football itinerary. That's the thing about smaller federations and regional tournaments. They don't just carry sport, they carry economics, identity, and sometimes escape. Now zoom out one more level, rules. Because Barbados versus Grenada is the purest example of a broader truth. When rules create perverse incentives, players will follow the incentive, not the intended spirit. We've seen versions of that at the highest level, and they all sound straight out of the playbook for your favorite OTD podcast. In 1982, the disgrace of Gijón gives us a World Cup match where both teams essentially stop competing once they reach their mutually beneficial scoreline, an infamous episode that helped push FIFA towards simultaneous final group games. In 1998, at the Tiger Cup, Indonesia deliberately scored an own goal in extra time because losing is strategically preferable to winning, another moment where incentives hijack the game. And in 2002, Madagascar gives us the 149-0 match, an own goal protest so extreme it looks like a software bug, but it's human behavior inside a broken governance structure. Barbados versus Grenada belongs in that museum, but it stands out because it isn't collusion and it isn't protest. It's tactical lawyering on grass, and the academic point is simple and devastating. The people who wrote the rule didn't run enough scenarios. Today the sport has gotten more serious about governance. EFAB's law changes are documented and debated publicly, and the system increasingly relies on structured trials and advisory processes before rolling changes into the global game. Because if you don't test rules, football will test them for you, live, on television, with players defending both goals. So what should we take away from January 27, 1994? As always, 3 points. First, incentives are tactics. Barbados didn't cheat. They read the incentive landscape faster than everyone else and then played the optimal line through it. Second, rules don't fail in theory. They fail in edge cases. And football is a machinery that creates edge cases because qualification math turns normal decisions into survival math. Third, the most bizarre matches are often the most educational. Barbados versus Grenada is a reminder that the sport's logic is not score goals. The sport's logic is achieve the objective. And if the objective gets misspecified, the game will look like a glitch. On this day in 1994, a Caribbean qualifier didn't just produce a winner, it produced a warning. If you build a competition where the smartest path to victory runs through your own net, don't be surprised when a team takes it. That's all for episode 88 of OTD, your daily dose of soccer history. If you have any other matches that feel like football made a broken spreadsheet, send them to me, please. My email is otd@17lawsguy.com. Your engagement, your ratings, and your sharing the show is what makes it keep growing and climbing the charts. Tomorrow, in episode 89, January 28, the year 1900, the founding of the DFB, and the machinery that helped build German football into a modern power. Stay tuned.